story, I want to show you guys a video that shows like different reasons on why different people can be homeless. Like there's not only one factor that talks like, oh, like they're all homeless because of this reason. Like everyone has their own story and it's not all the same. And this video demonstrates it.
I can fake a smile. I can force a laugh. I can dance and play the part if that's what you ask. Give you all I am. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. But I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. I'm only human, and I crash.
Okay, so as you can see, like there's many reasons. Like there's mental illnesses. There's like most people lose their jobs. Like there's people who after getting incarcerated, they don't have nowhere to go and they don't have like any money, family members even. And that's like that. So my personal story, I've not been homeless, but I have experienced and talked to someone who has, and I think it's really impacted me in like the way that I see things. So back in 2014, when we had to do Summer of a Lifetime, I got placed in University of Indiana at Bloomington, and I took this photography class there. And I'm not really interested into photography, but I was like, let me just try something new. So I gave the class a go, and as like it was the last week there, the teacher gave us an assignment, and the assignment was to make like kind of like a replica of Humans of New York. And if you know what Humans of New York is, then you know like it's this photographer in New York, and he goes around New York and he takes pictures of strangers. And after taking the picture of them, he interviews them. And in the interview, he gets to know more about them, more personal, deep level, like, and actually get to know them. And it's crazy, like at the end when you realize, like, oh my God, like I could be walking next to this complete stranger, like they have this whole story that you don't even know. And so she wanted us to do something like that. So she wanted us to go out there, like, take photographs of people and then interview them to get to know them. So I went out and I interviewed some couple of people, and then some of them were not really like, they didn't captivate me as much. But this one woman, I saw her and she was sitting like next to her husband, and they were sitting in milk cartons, and she had a sign and it said, "Homeless, please help." So I asked her, like, can I take a picture of you? And she said, oh yeah, sure. And as I got to know her, I asked her like what led you to like become homeless? And then she told me like growing up, her parents were not really supportive of her decisions. Like she really didn't feel like there was not anyone that she could talk to. She didn't feel close enough to her parents to actually get to know them. And as she started growing older, she started rebelling. And after rebelling herself, she found herself in an abusive relationship. And when she found herself in an abusive relationship, her parents basically disowned her, and it made her feel hopeless. And she felt like she had no need, like no one to like go to for help. She felt so hopeless that when she lost her job, she didn't want to ask anyone for help because she felt like they were gonna be like, oh well, like it's your fault, like you made yourself into this situation, so get yourself out. And when I asked her like, what's one advice that you would give to people if you could, she said, and she looked at me like with a straight face, and she said, don't give up, because she was telling me how, like there's gonna be people who are not gonna want you to succeed, and she felt like she was one of them. She felt like there was gonna be people who told her like, oh, like you're not gonna be able to like get yourself out of the situation that you dug yourself into, and that really stuck with me a lot. So the statistics. Sorry if I'm not saying it right. So the number one reason is loss of jobs. After most people lose jobs, like it's really hard to be able to find another job. And another reason is, like I said, incarcerated. A lot of people don't have a lot of family members that like they can go to once they're out of jail. And sick, disabled, mental issue. I'm going to talk about this later on, but a lot of people who have mental illnesses, they require a lot of like attention, and a lot of caregivers, they don't, after a while, they kind of get like, I don't want to say like irritated, but like they're not able to put up with it as they grow older, so they kind of just they leave them in shelters to have people take care of them. So I don't know why that one's not showing up. But I have two pictures here, and this is Robbie McLeod. He's 19 now, but he was only 16 when he went out of his house. When he has anxiety and Asperger's syndrome, and that makes it really hard for him to be able to socialize and to be able to communicate with people. The reason why he got homeless was because growing up, his parents weren't paying attention to him. His mother always was with her boyfriend, and he felt like he had no one to talk to. And when they asked him, like, do you ever see yourself, like, not living homeless? He said, yeah, but I would not like to be alone, because if I were to be alone, he thinks he will fall into depression. And that's something that a lot of people, I think, feel when they're alone. They feel like they have no one to talk to, and that makes them feel depressed. And then Stallion Hill, his picture's not up there, but he's a musician, and his parents were not really, like, supportive of his career, and he felt like he didn't feel motivated to be with someone who was not, like, keeping him going in what he wanted to be. So he decided to talk to his school, actually, and talk about someone, like, how they can be able to help him, and eventually they actually found a shelter for him. So jobs. So after the economy has lost 6 million jobs since the recession began in 2007, and people who lose their jobs often find themselves finding another job that pays less than their previous job that actually got them fired. And it's actually really hard to find a job, especially nowadays. Like, you need to have, like, a bachelor's degree or something, and that's what these people don't have, which makes them really not stand out from the rest of the people. And some people be like, oh, well, why don't you just get a job? Well, like, yeah, it's not that easy. Like, if we were lucky enough, we would get one, like, by tomorrow or something, but the world doesn't work like that. And without a job, you're more likely to not be able to have housing if you have a mental illness. Like, you can't pay for your appointments or stuff like that. Okay, like I said, mental illnesses, like, a lot of people who have someone, like a family member that has a mental illness, like, a lot of caregivers actually, like, give up on them, and, like, they have someone else take care of them because they kind of feel like they don't want to do it anymore. So they give the responsibility to someone else to do it for them. So I'm gonna I interviewed this girl, Christine Aker, from Primo Center for Women and Children. And when I interviewed her, she told me that in her days working there, like, she's seen a lot of, especially, like, young girls, like, pregnant who were kicked out of their houses because they weren't getting the support from their family members. Like, most family members, like, they disown their children after getting pregnant because they feel disappointed and they feel like they did not raise the child that they wanted to. And that makes people, like, that makes young women not get the support. And when you don't get the support, you feel like, yeah. Next. So my solution. So I know a lot of people, like, they don't know what to do when they're found in, like, when they see a homeless people, like, should I give money? Like, should I donate to a shelter? Should I just walk by? Like, they don't know what to do. And I get, like, sometimes, like, you only carry a card with you, like, you don't carry cash. Or sometimes, like, you're running late for school or something like that. Like, stuff like that can happen. But there's no reason to be mean to them. Like, most people, like, when they're in a rush or something, they'll be like, oh no, like, I don't have time for that. But there's no need to do that. I think, like, most people want to be heard. There's some people, I don't know if you guys seen them, but, like, there's some people who actually stop to talk to homeless people and, like, hear their story. And that's what most people, I think, want, like, to be heard because they feel like they're isolated, they have no one to talk to. And I feel like that can be, like, more like homeless shelters in, like, low-income parts. Like, I know there's a lot of well-known, but maybe, like, have some more, like shelters and, like, yeah, urban areas, yeah. And that's it.